Today I want to talk about what it really takes to tone the inner thighs. To understand that, you first need to know the different types of fat in the body. Subcutaneous fat is the soft fat just beneath the skin. It is actually normal and healthy. It is your body has safe storage, space for energy. Then there's visceral fat, which sits around your organs, mainly in the abdominal area. If you look down and can't see your shoes, you may have some visceral fat buildup. This kind of fat is inflammatory and unhealthy because it often comes from insulin resistance, meaning the fat cells can't store fuel properly anymore. When that happens, fat spills into and around organs. There's also liver fat, which accumulates inside the liver. The good news is that liver fat can be reversed very quickly, often within days or weeks. But thigh fat is a different story. Fat stored around the thighs isn't just under the skin. It also weaves into the muscle fibers themselves. If you've ever seen marbled Wagyu beef, that's a good visual comparison. Unfortunately, that marbling effect in humans isn't a sign of tender meat. It is a sign of reduced collagen, weak muscle quality, and excess fat within the muscle in people who have had this issue for years, especially older adults. The muscle has often been gradually shrinking and replaced by fat and scar tissue. At the same time, the muscle loses stem cells that would normally help it regenerate. With less muscle comes less strength, less ATP energy, and more insulin resistance. When muscle cells become insulin resistant, they struggle to use fuel, making the fat in and around the muscle even harder to burn. This abnormal fat inside the muscle is called myostetosis. Essentially, intramuscular fat. Here is the key detail most people don't realize. Muscle fat must be burned locally, unlike liver fat, which can be transported and burned elsewhere. Intramuscular fat can only be used by the muscle itself. But when the muscle is damaged, weak, and insulin resistant, it can't burn the fuel it's surrounded by. That's why thigh fat can be so stubborn. When you start repairing this situation, you want to see immediate changes on the scale, and that's where most people get discouraged. The early improvements happen deep inside the muscle cells, and you're not going to see that in the mirror. You have to restore the muscle before you'll see fat loss or tightening. In a 12-week study using the approach I'm about to explain, participants didn't lose their weight, but they reduced muscle loss by 15%. That may sound small, but it's the beginning of rebuilding the engine that burns thigh fat. Instead of tracking weight, track strength. If you feel yourself getting stronger over time, that's a sign your muscles are coming back to life. Another positive sign is decreased appetite. When your body switches from burning sugar to burning stored fat, you naturally feel less hungry thanks to the ketones your body produces. The whole issue often begins with inactivity. Sitting too much leads to muscle shrinkage, which leads to fat replacing muscle, which increases insulin resistance. And that creates even more fat buildup. Combine that with aging, fewer mitochondria, and inflammation, and you get the classic high-fat, low-muscle thighs. To turn this around, start with eccentric exercises. Slow, controlled movements where the muscle length, for example, hanging from a pull-up bar and lowering yourself slowly, or doing a slow, bodyweight squat with focus on the descent. These movements create the strongest stimulus for muscle growth. If needed, use a chair or resistance band to help you stand back up. Even walking downhill counts as eccentric work. Expect soreness, especially at the beginning. That's normal, but you must allow recovery days. Muscles rebuild when you rest and sleep, not while you're training. These eccentric movements stimulate stem cells and mitochondria, which is exactly what damaged muscle needs. Next, walk. A lot. Take stairs, walk during breaks, and especially walk after meals. Even a 5-minute walk helps your leg muscles use circulating blood sugar as fuel. Over time, add short bursts of high-intensity exercise, like sprints or step-ups. If your fitness level allows, short, intense efforts send a powerful signal to your leg muscles to grow rapidly. From a nutrition standpoint, try eating twice a day, or even once a day if you're able, and keep carbs low. Long breaks between meals activate healing pathways and push your body to burn fat around the muscles for fuel. Occasional longer fasts of 48 to 72 hours can help break down scar tissue and increase fat burning through autophagy. When doing prolonged fasts, keep your activity gentle, like easy walking. Cold exposure can help too. Submerging just your lower body in cold water or ending your shower with cold water pushes your body to generate heat, which burns a lot of energy. It also activates mitochondria, which helps the muscle recover. This entire transformation is essentially a complete remodeling of the thigh muscles from the inside out. It takes time, months, or even years, but it is absolutely possible. And the most reliable sign that you're making progress is getting stronger. Strength comes before visible changes, so pay attention to that.